It seems like the American gods have gone mad. The stronghold of democracy, freedom, progress, and Western values has, in just 1 month of Trump's rule, managed to turn into an LDPR corporate party. The USA is becoming a cheap copy of the Kremlin regime. What is this country called? She go.
Oh dear Lord, please help us!
The Trump administration remarkably managed to achieve in just 1 month what took Vladimir Putin a full 25 years to accomplish.
I've never met him. I never met Putin. I don't know who Putin is. He's a very remarkable person. He said one nice thing about me. He said, I'm a genius.
I just said offhand that Trump is a remarkable person. I didn't give him any other descriptions.
He is really very much of a leader. He's the leader of the country. But I don't really know Putin. I don't know Putin. I don't know Putin. He said nice things to me. No one believed, except you and I, that he would win. If he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him.
In USA, as in Russia, conspiracy theorists, chauvinists, paranoiacs, or sycophants are in power.
Our advantage is Putin. No Putin, there would truly be no Russia today.
Thank God for our President Trump, truly.
Trump and his minions have made America a great laughingstock. No one takes the words of the President of the United States seriously anymore, because he constantly lies, twists facts, and forgets what he said just yesterday.
Do you still consider Zelensky a dictator, in your honest assessment?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that.
Every day, the world wakes up with one thought to check social media and see what the American leadership has done this time. Recently, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio appeared on camera with a cross on his forehead and began broadcasting colorized Kremlin propaganda, claiming that, apparently, Russia is not at war with Ukraine, but is at war with America.
President Trump views this situation as a prolonged, fatal conflict and, frankly, a proxy war between nuclear powers, the United States, which supports Ukraine, and Russia. This needs to end, and no one has a clear plan for how to do it.
This is exactly the narrative that Moscow has been hysterically pushing for 3 years to justify its failures in Ukraine. They say, we're fighting all of NATO, that's why our boys are dying on an industrial scale.
Right now, there's a war with NATO taking place on Ukrainian territory. And there's no other way to interpret it.
And then suddenly the U.S. Secretary of State repeats this word for word. We don't know what kind of compromat Putin must have on Trump. Maybe it's something we don't even want to know about, because we wouldn't believe it anyway. Let's just take it as an axiom that modern U.S. politics is like a leaked script from the very scary movie C7 In. We have a theory in defense of Marco Rubio. Maybe he was forced to repeat Russian propaganda, and that's why he drew a cross on his forehead as a symbol that he doesn't support what he's saying, like crossing his fingers behind his back. Because when Rubio talks about the Russia-Ukraine war without a cross on his forehead, he says something completely different.
Just so you know, when the vast Soviet Union ultimately collapsed in the early 1990s, Ukraine was left with the third largest arsenal of tactical and strategic nuclear weapons in the entire world. But they signed this agreement with the United States, with the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union and Russia, who essentially said, if you give up your nuclear weapons, we, the 3 countries who signed this, will provide for your protection and guarantee it to you.
Why should we hope these ceasefires will be observed, given we know his ultimate goal? He might agree to a temporary ceasefire as a tactical move to drive a wedge between us and the Europeans.
In any case, this will most likely put an end to Rubio's future political career. But at least he'll be able to become a vampire hunter.
That's all that I truly need. You're far too late, Pastor. Now it is their time.
But as they say, it's not just about Rubio. There is a real mouthpiece for the Kremlin in AmeriFox News. This dark chapter in the history of American journalism shouldn't just be turned over, but torn out.
This is an attitude of ingratitude. Seeing his smirk, seeing how he rolls his eyes, seeing how he calls Gigi Evans the vice president like he appears in
a stylish outfit like Equinox. President?
Zelensky was also hostile and rude. So,
Brazen, so disrespectful.
Deaf to what was being said, constantly interrupting and answering back quite rudely, talking back to the president, and he was being completely insolent.
Trumpist journalists have stopped holding back and are now openly declaring that they adhere to fascist values. How else can you explain the statements of Fox News host Jesse Waters, who said that the world belongs to America and that Ukrainians, as subordinates, should silently comply with any of its demands?
We run the world. This is an American world, and it's our proxy. Everything will end when we decide it will.
Well, do you get it? The superiority of one people over others. The Kremlin has the same ideology, creating the myth of a god-bearing nation and traditional millennia-old bonds. Considering that the Russian Empire and the United States were both formed around the same time in the 18th century, we wouldn't be surprised if Trump announces that the states also have a 1,000-year history. And if he had been elected president back then, he would have prevented the war between Syria and Egypt. He would have just turned off Starlink for Babylon. Wait, you could do that? The main headliner of this madness, of course, is the conqueror of Mars and other people's wives, Elon Musk. He turned Twitter into the personal diary of a disgruntled fifth grader. The only problem is that this fifth grader is broadcasting the policy of the United States of America.
Dramatic music. The dramatic music continues to play, creating an intense and captivating atmosphere.
Donald, what exactly are you doing in my office? You know I'm the president of this country now, right?
Elon Musk specifically called Ukraine and Europe the warmongers, not Russia. He urged Zelensky to flee into exile, and the absolute cherry on top declared that America should leave the UN and NATO. What the hell are you even talking about? There was already a cocky guy back in the 1930s who left the League of Nations. Also loved to throw up Nazi salutes in public and was into drugs. All characters are fictional. Any resemblance is purely coincidental. Are you sure about that? Another thing that really unites Trump supporters and Putinists is the fear that Ukrainians will wipe out all Christians. Now even American senators are worried about the ban on the Russian Orthodox Church. Because of the oppression of FSB-affiliated priests, now even a piece of turkey on Thanksgiving just won't go down.
the Ukrainian government is attacking Christians. Russia doesn't do that. They don't attack Christianity. In fact, it seems like they're actually protecting it.
This esteemed senator is concerned about those Christians who call for burning Ukrainians with napalm. How very sweet!
You see, in Ukraine, the disease is so advanced that no amount of persuasion, negotiations, or anything else can cure it anymore. Only surgery is possible there. That's why the only answer to this, Nazi rhetoric can be one thing: the Солнце пёк. It needs to be burned up.
Fortunately, America is not just Trump and the Trumpists. On the contrary, most American citizens support Ukraine and the civilized world. That's why the reaction to the actions of the new administration is sharpest right in the states themselves.
If you're curious how Zelensky endures all this, just look at his eyebrows. Every time he's in front of the cameras in America, watch his eyebrows.
They respect me.
Causing a bit of trouble too. It's just like in those classic cartoons where the eyebrows literally fly way up above the head.
Vice President Vance got the worst of it. Yeah, he's not a vice anything. He's the biggest loser on the internet. Puffed up Vance is now everywhere, wherever a person's gaze might fall. America doesn't need to become great. It is already a great country, perhaps the greatest in history. America just needs to remain its true self, to be a consistently reliable guarantor of peace and freedom on our small shared planet.
I truly urge you to stand up firmly against those who actively seek to sell off America's profound spiritual and formidable military superiority. I compare this to the devil's devious tricks. I want to caution you. When talking about effectively ending the nuclear arms race, you should not blame both sides equally, completely ignoring historical facts and the aggressive, expansionist ambitions of the evil empire, nor should you oversimplify the complex situation by merely calling the arms race the greatest misunderstanding, thereby removing yourself from the profound struggle between truth and falsehood, between good and evil.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.